Alrighty, folks. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm AS Eats Pair. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to Nomadium 4. Today we've got an exciting match. We've got Invited versus AS Gladiators. Now, Invited versus AS Gladiators, this is a match. This is the first round of the tournament. This is the winner's bracket first round. And Invited versus AS Gladiators is probably one of the more anticipated matches because it is one of the matches between some of the stronger teams in the tournament, randomized tournament draw. And I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be best of three. As before, the first map has to be Sahara, and then afterwards the losing team will get to pick the map. You can see in the graphic I've thrown up the bands. I know some people were discussing some feedback potentially for the graphics, so I'm all ears. I want to make it as not confusing as possible. In this case, what I've chosen to done for now and for today's stream is you can see Invited cannot pick Lakota, Iroquois, French, or Spain, meaning AS banned those. So Invited can't pick those. And similarly, AS can't pick Japanese. Oh, geez. Phone went crazy. AS can't pick Japanese, Inca, Indians, or Russians. So you can see here, I've set it up this way. So basically, like, on the left column is the nations that Invited can no longer pick, right? After game one, you can't repeat nations. And similarly, in the right column, those are the nations that AS can't pick. So, whatever nations AS pick, they can't pick those for the next games, including the bans. Does that make sense? That's the reason I've set it up like that. If it is confusing, please do let me know, either in the comments below or in the live chat. I can see you guys up on the stream. I think I've set it up correctly. I did a little bit of tech work before this just to make sure it's working. I hope everybody's doing well. I see lots of different people in the chat. Let's see. I see some folks I recognize, some folks I don't. Welcome, welcome. Obviously, just a note, if you played in this match or you have any knowledge of any spoilers, please stay out of the chat. Don't say anything. Thank you very much. If you did play the match and when the match is over and we're still here and I still have like energy and the voice to talk, we may do a post match interview. So just let me know. But that will wait until after. So again, if you played this match or you know the results of the match, please don't say anything in this chat. It is against tournament rules, so please don't do that. Also, thank you for everybody who's been doing a very good job trying to schedule. I know we had a couple hiccups, but I appreciate everybody putting in their best effort to schedule. I know there are some cases where there's some disagreement or whatever. Please, for the community as a whole, please don't troll. Please don't make fake lobbies. Like, you should really try your best to schedule. You're gonna waste everybody else's time, and the tournament organizer's time and the other team's time. So please, do the right thing. Just schedule a match. It shouldn't be too hard. Again, this is the winners bracket first round. So all games are due by Sunday. If you are having trouble, you ideally should have already told us, told the tournament organizers. But if not, please let them know as soon as you can. All right. Okay. So, without further ado, let's quickly go over the members of each team and then we'll get started. We'll jump right into the game. So, we've got for Invited. This is Proles, Red Bull, Hugo, Gorbakov, and Rise of Patience, which is Jadden. And for Gladiators, that's Sturman, Duzzles, Leonidas, Xano, and Spiridon. All right, so this should be a good match. I'm excited to see how both teams do. I'm personally rooting for AS because that is my clan. I am AS player after all, and I know many of them very well. But we'll have to see. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm just hoping for, honestly, I'm hoping for a best of three. I'm hoping for some really exciting matches. Alrighty, so let's jump into the game. I think this button. This button. Oh wait. This button. There we go. Aha. Alright. Let's jump into the game here. All right, welcome to game one of the qualifier match between Invited and AS Gladiators. All right, I hope this is seeable. I can see it's already lagging a little bit. You can see I have an FPS thing in the corner. Maybe I just, what if I do this? All right, okay, so let's take a look at who's playing. We've got on the side of Invited, we've got Red Bull, Prolays, and Gorbakov. And then on the other side, we've got AS Sermon, AS Duzzles, and AS Spiridon. And this is AS Gladiators. AS is sent in 2 teams. This is, in my opinion, the stronger of the 2 teams, but, we'll have to see. Let's take a look at what nations they're playing. So we've got Prolays, who's playing Japanese, the Tier 1 player. Gorbakov, who's playing Tier 2 with Romans. And Red Bull, who's playing Tier 3 with Nubians. On the other side, we've got Tier 1 Duzzles playing Mongols, Tier 2 Sermon playing British, and Tier 3 Spiridon playing Nubians. A very interesting choice. It seems that for many teams, Nubians is the preferred choice on Sahara, and this is not kind of surprising. It makes a lot of sense. Nubians is one of those nations that if you spawn with good rares next to you, it's really, really helpful. And because Sahara is very open, there's kind of like more chance that there's probably going to be rares near you. And if you got some reasonable rares, if you start with a bison or something like that, your start can be incredibly fast. And Sahara is pretty much all about speed. Otherwise, I'm a little, obviously the Japanese Japanese are great on every single map. I'm a little bit surprised to see Mongols out of AS. I haven't played a ton of Mongols myself, and I'm not an expert, but I wouldn't consider it like extremely good for Sahara by any means. I do think Mongols is very strong, and the cavalry, especially for later raiding in such an open map as Sahara, can be beneficial, but you're not going to get the most of the food bonus due to the increased land mass. Usually Mongols are a little bit better on a water map. Strangely enough, landlocked empire and all. Looking at the other tiers, Romans is kind of an all-rounder. The wealth really helps out in the early game, especially. It kind of like jumpstarts your economy, and having cheaper fortifications and pretty reasonable unique units is pretty strong. I would say they're kind of like an all-rounder. British makes a lot of sense too. British on this map specifically. In some maps, British are like the eco king. You're gonna have a massive commerce cap, etc., etc. In this map, British is often played as a despot because they have plus 125 commerce cap, and that is kind of like the meta. But sometimes you'll see British players doing other things. The archers are extremely really good, and because this map is so aggressive in Age 2, having those longbowmen is really helpful. No surprise there that AS picked British. And then, obviously, we've got both Nubians players on the other side. So let's take a look at where the players have spawned. So, oh, also, I realized I didn't mention this. This is on the screen, but you can see Duzzles is the Tier 1 player playing Mongols, Sermon's playing British Tier 2, and Spiridon's playing Tier 3 as Nubians. Okay, so let's take a look at where the players have spawned. So we'll start with AS. We can see their Tier 1 player is Duzzles. Up here in the corner, the Mongols player. We've got their Tier 2 player, Sermon, who's in kind of like the center. You can see he's actually built his diamonds next to his city. He built his city next to his diamonds. The British player, that diamond's gonna be very nice for him. And then finally, Spiridon, the Nubians player, next to him with the yellow. So you can see AS have kind of formed this wedge in the center. Now let's look at where Invited have spawned. So we'll start with Prolays, who is their Tier 1 player. He's playing Japanese. He's already built his library. Japanese known for their very quick starts. We've got Gorbakov playing Romans, who's civved right on top of Silk. That's a very nice rare for the Nubians player. And then finally, Nubians player himself, Red Bull, over here. All right, so let's take a look. Early on this game, I like to take a look at how they're doing on scouting. It looks pretty split across the board. It's actually just a single ruin difference. It looks like Spiridon and Red Bull obviously are probably doing the least scouting, and Sermon's doing the most. Let's look at their speed. So we can see Prolays is researching Commerce 1 right now, compared to the other AS player who's just building the library. Japanese obviously being a little bit faster than the Mongols player. we see in terms of rares that Spiridon has access to, being a Nubians player, he actually only has diamonds at the moment. That's super duper close. On the other hand, we can see Red Bull has both sugar and silk. Where is the other? Oh, here's the sugar. Sugar is one of the best rares to start with as Nubians. This is an incredibly strong rare, as is silk. So I would definitely want to be in Red Bull's seat. I mean, this is like a insanely fast, insanely fast start for a Nubians player. Like those are actually the best two rares, aside from maybe Bison in the early game, and maybe Diamonds, which Spiridon has. Unfortunately, Spiridon doesn't have much else. To be honest, they're kind of lacking in the rares in their territory. I mean, they have a Spice, which is really far, and a Peacocks, which he sent it over to, which is not bad, but it's very far. All right, so let's take a brief look at Broly's again. Broly's has gone for Commerce 1, is going for Civic 1 as the next choice, comparing to Duzzles, who is a little bit further away. Obviously, again, Japanese player going to be very fast. And we see multiple knowledge rares. We can see Red Bull has gone for Dye and plus Civic 1 and is building his first city. See if AS has scouted it. AS has not scouted that, but they've probably seen the border push. Let's take a look. We've got Sermon and Spiridon's just finishing a library. Sermon has gone for Commerce 1 and is building a market right now. If we look at the rares briefly, so AS they have diamonds, obviously right next to London. That's going to be one of their best rares. They've got Peacock, Spice. In the corner, there's silver, which have they scouted yet? They have. There's tobacco, there's horses, bison. In the back here, there's wine, wool, copper, and Pappy, which Pappy they have not scouted yet. Okay, on the other side, for Invited, they've got silk and sugar, obviously. We've seen them from Gorbakov, as well as diamonds. There's an obsidian there. There's a wool there. There's a dye, which they used earlier. There's furs in the top left. Citrus, which, Nubians player often is one of the only people who will use that. There's a salt, which they've scouted, and there's a relics, which they've also scouted. Overall, I think I would give the slight edge in terms of rares to Invited. I mean, it kind of seems like their rares are a little bit better in general. Obviously, AS has reasonable rares. I mean, they have diamonds and, stuff. But, I think, the combination of sugar plus, I think, 3 library rares, right? You got silk, you've got dye, and you've got furs. The combination of those is very strong. And you can see both the Tier 1 players have gone for early Commerce 1 and then followed by Civic 1. Spiridon has also gone for Civic 1, and we can see a military 1 from Sermon, who's building a tower. You can see actually that Invited have not scouted this tower. If that tower goes up, is it within range? Let's see. Not quite within range, but it's still going to be pretty powerful. 10 range there. It's going to deny this wood camp away from Red Bull, who's already made it, can't even cancel it. And Red Bull hasn't scouted it yet. I assume he will soon. He's going for military 1 now. Hey Jatin, I see you there. How's it going? And this tower is going to go down. Red Bull's going to immediately pull back and go for a barracks. Let's take a look at the military tech. Red Bull is actually the one who is furthest ahead, has 111. Although Duzzles has just gotten 111 as well for himself. Duzzle's doing very well with that economy. Let's look at the Japanese player. Japanese player is going for Commerce 2. Very greedy, but with silk and being at a fast start as he is, he can definitely afford this. He's probably going to go for a despot as well later on. Ready, let's see. Have AS scouted this silk or this Pappy? Yes, they have. Tower's finished. Sermon's going to go for Civic 1, going to build a city right here probably, and has scouted this this barracks, which they're going to fill this up. Notably, this tower is not hitting this. I think, do British have a power +2 range to forts and towers? Wait, how is this not hitting it? Oh, I guess this is not that forward. Okay, Sermon's going to go for a barracks now. Spiridon is doing very well for himself as well. That's a pretty reasonable economy. This diamonds is super duper helping out, and I assume He's going to go for a military one now. Let's see what AS versus... We can see a tower also going down for Proles. This one is also not in the range of the city. Duzzles does see it, and he's going to immediately send his hoplite over. Invited with a slight lead right now, I would say mostly due to the fact that AS have kind of like, they've walked to the center, so their starts are going to be a little bit slower is the main reason. Also, obviously, I think Invited have really good rares, especially for a Nubians player. Very lucky. You know, Nubians is kind of like a little bit like feast or famine sometimes. Sermon is the one who is struggling for economy the most. He's just now put down a second city. This is not exactly where you want a British player to be, but I assume also he could definitely despot, especially with the diamonds and being British. His economy is basically the same as the Sender. I mean, plus 137 is not that different. And we see a massive battle here on the top side. You can see, oh, Proles's barracks is getting denied by Duzzles. That is bad news for Proles. He is in quite a bit of trouble. Let's see. These citizens are dying. You can see Duzzles has 4 archers. Oh my gosh. Proles getting punished a little bit here for the greed. These citizens are dying. We do see a single archer from Red Bull coming forward here. But I mean, this is causing quite a bit of havoc here for Duzzles. Duzzles has to be careful not to lose a citizen, but has put up a tower as well. Doing very well for himself, and he's going to retreat. His hoplite's low HP. This barracks is almost finished. He's caused a reasonable amount of damage, and he's going to go back. We see Gorbakov has aged. See what he does with this. Maybe he's a Hanging Gardens? Wait, no, sorry. Wrong person. My bad. Gorbakov, here we go. Colossus. Close enough. So they're going to go for a Colossus there. We can see most of the other players are aging. Let's see what Spiridon's up to. Spiridon is just going to go for Temple plus University. Not going to be any Wonder Rushes here. So yeah, that was pretty reasonable damage for the part of Duzzles. Everybody is aging now, aside from Sermon, who is still building up the economy, almost there. Is ready to click up on the age, and he does in fact click up on the age. So, we can see a light raid here coming from the back. Or no, just kidding, not a light raid. It is a protective raid. You can see some bowmen coming out here, and some light raiding coming from Gorbakov, gonna raid some caravan. Sermon's caravan. I'm a little worried for Sermon, honestly. I mean, this is like not a great position. He kind of has to defend 2 sides at once. Here we can see a very forward tower from Spiridon also. Hanging Gardens being thrown down. Who's throwing this down? I think this is Duzzles, right? Yeah, this is Duzzles' Hanging Gardens. Nice choice from him. Proles is probably going to go for Despot, so we'll have to see if the greed pays off. Stable being thrown down there. Senator from Spiridon, no surprise there. Very good for a Nubians player, and is mirrored by Gorbakov. Gorbakov is also going for... Or sorry, Red Bull. Sorry, Red Bull is also going for Senator. You see here, these British archers are way better than whatever scrappy archers the Romans can put up. These bowmen are... look at their... Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. He just lost a unit there. These units are much faster for Sermon, and he's going to pick some of them off, fortunately. All right, if you look at the scores, the game is literally neck and neck. It looks like they're flipping back and forth. This is going to be a close game, folks. I'm really excited to see how this is going to turn out. I mean, this is kind of how Sahara plays out. Let's see, are there any raids going on? AS have scouted the opponents. Looks like they haven't seen a couple of rares in their territory, but they scouted the back especially. You can see here a minor raid going down. Some bowmen are going to take out some hoplites, probably. These bowmen are obviously a lot better than hoplites. So Gorbakov not going to get any value out of those units there. The Wonders are almost finished up. Let's see. We see a Senator here. We see a Despot, Com2 Despot from the Japanese player, who's doing very well for himself. That is a really nice economy. Compared to Duzzles. Duzzles is just finishing up Senator right now. I'm honestly a little worried for Duzzles. I think he is in a bit of trouble. He's going to be pressed by Proles, who's had time to max out that economy, right? I mean, compare the economies. Duzzles has gone for the greedy Hanging Gardens in the back, so I'm a little bit worried. I wonder if Spiridon can send aid. Spiridon's doing very well for himself. Look at this economy, very nice. plus 103 wealth income. And this tower is starting to attack the city. They're putting pressure on Red Bull here. Red Bull does have a tower in the back. Is gonna research attrition. I assume followed by militia shortly after. And we see a despot from Sermon. Take a look at how Gorbakov's doing. Gorbakov's been pretty quiet. Gonna go for a lookout tower in the back here. Production is fairly forward. And no science research yet, but does have a senator. Take a look at the top here. Proles, 2 barracks, spamming Ashigaru Spearmen. Gonna go for another stable. This is looking very scary. Oh, and Duzzle is going for Civic 2. I don't think maybe he doesn't realize that there's a despot coming his way. Does he have units? He's just now throwing down the stable. He looks like in a lot of trouble. Duzzle's here. I think he might die, actually. Just like straight up. Let's see, how many units does Spiridon have? Spiridon is moving forward to try and double Red Bull here, and so it looks like there's going to be a 2v2 on this side and a 1v1 on this side. And honestly, if that's the case, I don't think AS has the advantage here. I mean, they are currently... I mean, this is a massive amount of units that are garrisoned here, like 10, 15 units. And Duzzles is only now getting up to stable. His economy is much lower than Proles's, even if his wealth income and knowledge income is much higher. And he has used up a ton of food on Civic 2, which he just built down the city. I'm gonna get some mines going, but he needs to make units and stat. He needs to make them right now. Doesn't have a militia researched either, so potential or attrition rush. So it doesn't have that to help him out. Proles is finishing up the tech, and he's actually going to go for the city of Axum. Let's see if Spiridon can sniff this out. I don't think he has. He has 3 archers. I don't think that's enough. He does have a lot of production. Duzzles is... I'm not sure. Again, the score is neck and neck, but if Proles can get a cap sack, that would be huge. I don't know if he can hold the city, but that would be a huge... he is ambushed here. Spiridon has seen a unit briefly. They're going to make the push here on this side. We can see Sermon is attacking as well as Spiridon at the same time. And Proles shows himself on the capital. The city is taken by Spiridon, but I don't know how long they can hold this because Spiridon needs to go back right now, or somebody does. I mean, they're in a ton of trouble. There's so many Bushy there. Does Spiridon have militia research? He does have militia research, but he is going to give away this cap sack, unfortunately. Big money